Welcome back to the English class, students. Now we know that the vagabond, that is the rat trap seller, after stealing the 30 kroner, escapes and gets trapped in a forest, and he realizes that he is trapped in the worldly rat trap. After a long walk through the forest, he reaches the Ramzo Ironworks. He gets a haughty consent from the master smith to spend a night in the forge. He sleeps next to the heated furnace to warm himself up. Now, today we will start from page number 36, para 3, and see how things change for the vagabond. In those days, the Ramzo iron mill was owned by a very prominent ironmaster whose greatest ambition was to ship out good iron to the market. He watched both night and day to see that the work was done as well as possible, and that this very moment he came into the forge on one of his nightly rounds of inspection. So, we see that this Ramzo iron mills, now it's in the hands of a very prominent ironmaster, and the ultimate goal of this ironmaster is only to ship out or distribute the best iron possible in the market. And he, in order to keep that particular fundamental concept correct, he used to keep a watch on the work going on in the iron mill day and night. And today he had reached that particular forge on his nightly rounds of inspection. Naturally, the first thing he saw was the tall ragamuffin. Ragamuffin is a person who is totally dressed up in rags. Okay, and this person is tall. So, the first thing, as soon as he got into the forge, the first thing he saw was a tall ragamuffin who had eased his way so close to the furnace that steam rose from his wet rags. So you must have seen when you place iron on a wet cloth, you must have seen steam coming out. So similarly, here again, the ragamuffin is lying so close to the furnace that steam starts coming out of his clothes. The ironmaster did not follow the example of the blacksmith. What was the example shown by the blacksmith? That is, he did not even bother to investigate who the person, the rat trap seller is. But our ironmaster is not like that. Okay. Who had hardly deigned to look at the stranger. He walked close to him, looked him over very carefully, then tore off his slouch hat to get a better view of his face. So the ironmaster went very close to the ragamuffin. He took off his slouch hat. Slouch hat means a torn, battered hat, and then in order to have a better look at the face and identify, if possible, the person. But of course, it's you, Neil Zoloff, he said. How do you look? So here we see that the ironmaster has actually identified the rat trap seller as Neil Zoloff, who is one of his friend, or maybe they work together. And then he says, "Why do you look so in such a distressed and in such a desperate condition?" The man with the rat traps had never before seen the ironmaster at Ramzo and did not even know what his name was. But it occurred to him that if the fine gentleman thought he was an old acquaintance, he might perhaps throw him a couple of kroner. Therefore, he did not want to undeceive him at once. So, the rat trap seller realized that he had never before seen this ironmaster. But then he did not want to say that you are mistaken or something like that. The reason why he did not want to undeceive means not to cheat. So he never wanted to say that you are wrong or you are mistaken. Because he thought, suppose this man realized that he is his acquaintance, he might give him few kroner, a little money he could get from this ironmaster. So he doesn't say no to what the ironmaster says. Yes, God knows things have gone downhill with me, he said. So the rat trap seller says, yes, God only knows how things have gone downhill with me. Gone downhill with me means I have reached a position in my life where things are desperate and distressing for me. You should not have resigned from the regiment, said the ironmaster. That was a mistake. If only I had still been in the service at the time, it never would have happened. Well, now of course you will come home with me. So the ironmaster says, yes, you should not have resigned from the regiment army. Okay, so here you see we come to know that this ironmaster, he mistakes the rat trap seller for his regimental comrade, or comrade means a friend, so regimental friend, and he says you should not have resigned from your post, and that was a big mistake that you committed, but as I was not there in the service at that time, you committed such a mistake. If I would have been there, I would not have allowed you to resign, and now you're going to come with me to my house. But our rat trap seller was not ready for it, because he realizes if he reaches the house of this particular person, he might be caught. Caught for what? Caught for those 30 kroner notes that he had stolen from the crofter. So we see, let's continue. To go along up to the manor house and be received by the owner like a regimental comrade, that, however, did not please the tramp. So, to go up to the manor house. Manor house means a large country house with lands around. Okay, so somewhat like a farmhouse or something like that. Okay, so going on to the manor house with this ironmaster and being treated as a regimental comrade did not please the tramp. As I told you earlier, he realizes that it would be a big mistake, a grave mistake on its part if he goes there, because he might be caught for those 30 kroners. No, I couldn't think of it, he said, looking quite alarmed. He became all the more alarmed. The rat trap seller, he says, no, I cannot think about coming with you. He thought of the 30 kroner. To go up to the manor house would be like throwing himself voluntarily into the lion's den. He only wanted a chance to sleep here in the forge and then sneak away as inconspicuously as possible. So, now he thinks about the 30 krona, as I told you, and to go into the manor house and then be received as a comrade would be like throwing himself voluntarily, knowingly into a lion's den. That is, he would be caught. And he never wanted that. The only thing he wanted was to have a good sleep at the forge and then sneak away, leave the place as inconspicuously. As inconspicuously means not being visible to anyone, as he had come in. The ironmaster assumed that he felt embarrassed because of his miserable clothing. So the ironmaster did not take the other way around. He thought this man, because he was in rags, he might be a little embarrassed. He might be shy to go along with him to his manor house. So he tries to pacify this person. See what he says. Please don't think that I have such a fine home that you cannot show yourself there. So he says, no, I don't have such a huge house or a very aristocratic atmosphere in the house that you cannot show yourself up. You should come. You have to come. He said, Elizabeth is dead. Who do you think Elizabeth is? Yes, his wife. So, the ironmaster's wife, Elizabeth, is dead. As you may already have heard, my boys are abroad, and there is no one at home except my oldest daughter and myself. So, as as you have already heard, my wife Elizabeth is already dead, and my boys are abroad, and I am left alone in the manor house with my only daughter. Sorry, not only daughter, the eldest daughter. We were just saying that it was too hard. We didn't have any company for Christmas. So he's saying that we were very sad that this Christmas we both of us would be all alone. But now, as you have come in, we'll have someone along with us. Now come along with me and help us make the Christmas food disappear a little faster. So he's saying, you should come with me, and then we'll together have some Christmas food, enjoy the night, and then you can leave. But the stranger said no, and again no. And the ironmaster saw that he must give in. So the ironmaster said this rat trap seller again and again, in spite of so many requests and so many things he said to just pacify the person. But the rat trap seller says no and no and no again and again. And then he just gives in. Gives in means he lets it go. So he says, it looks as though Captain Wonstale perhaps to stay with you tonight. Stigestrom, he said to the master blacksmith, and turned on his heel. So he says to the blacksmith, Master Smith, that I think this captain wants to stay with you tonight. And then he turns on his heel means he leaves the place. But he laughed to himself as he went away, and the blacksmith, who knew him, understood very well that he had not said his last word. So although this particular owner of the mill leaves the place, but then while moving back, he was just giving a laughter. So the blacksmith knew that his master had not given up. He would return back and he would compel this person to go along with him to the manor house. So we have seen that now our iron master had tried his level best to take this rat trap seller to the manor house, but he is not ready for it. But then the ironmaster moves back, but to return with a severe blow maybe, in order to take him to his house. So we'll stop here, children, today, and please go through the lesson and be safe. Thank you.